Magandang gabi po. Magandang madaling araw na. 12:00 in punto. Ano ba ito? So, ating pag-usapan ngayon yung galit na ni Trump sa ngayon laban po sa ICC. So, dahil sa galit niya, ang kinagalit ni Trump ngayon ay yung tinatawag na masyadong overreaching na kumbaga sa Bisaya papataka na lang yung ginagawa ng ICC. At ang ginagawa nila ay masyado nilang binibigyan ng matinding kahulugan ang kanilang jurisdiction. Ibig sabihin jurisdiction, yung kapangyarihan nila sa pagkukuha ng kaso. Nagalit po si Trump sa kanila sapagkat ang reklamo ni Trump ay hindi naman kasapi ng ICC ang United States of America. Hindi rin kasapi ng ICC ang Israel. Hindi rin kasapi, actually yung Russia nagalit din. Hindi sila kasapi nung ICC ang Russia. So mga malalaking bansa mga yan. At dagdag pa niyan yung Russia at saka yung Amerika ay mayroong tinatawag na veto power sa Security Council. Ang isang pamamaraan po para magkaroon ng jurisdiction or authority ang ICC para lilitisin ang isang kaso ay kung inirefer ito ng Security Council. So that if the US, Russia, and Israel are not members of the ICC or the Rome Statute, then what is the only way for the ICC to have jurisdiction over cases involving the situations in the United States of America, in Israel and Russia? The only way po ay kung i-refer ito ng Security Council. Ngayon, kung ang Security Council, how can the Security Council come up with a decision? Ang problema natin sa 5 member ng Security Council ay may veto power ang Russia at saka United States of America. So, pag veto power, pag ayaw ng Amerika o ayaw ng Russia, ay hindi pwedeng i-endorso sa ICC kung ano man ang meron na nagawang kasalanan ang Russia o Amerika. Hindi pwedeng ibibigay sa ICC ang kaso. So kung gano'n, imposible dapat na magkaroon ng tinatawag na jurisdiction ang ICC over America, over Russia, and over Israel. So ang iba pang member ng Security Council na permanent members ay China, France, at United Kingdom. So kung yan ay kukontra, kahit isa sa kanila kukontra, hindi pwede maibigay sa ICC ang jurisdiction sa pag-imbestiga sa mga kasong ginawa ng Amerika, Russia, o ng Israel. Lalo pa kayo may awayan ang Amerika at saka Europe. Ang Europe, yan ang nag-aalaga sa ICC. So, be that as it may, ang akusasyon ng Amerika, masyado kayong nagmamagaling, nag-overreach kayo. Pati mga bansa na wala na kayong jurisdiction ay kinukuha ninyo para lamang maimbestigan ninyo, makapag-issue ka ng warrant of arrest. Tandaan ninyo po ang ICC ay nagpalabas ng warrant of arrest laban kay Putin sa Russia. So, kinunvict sila ng Russian court. Kasi wala silang basihan para magpalabas ng warrant of arrest laban kay Putin at saka isang tao ni Putin. So, wala rin silang dahilan para magpalabas ng warrant of arrest laban kay Netanyahu at saka ni Gallant na taga-Israel. Kasi nga, hindi member ng ICC ang Israel. At wala rin silang katwiran o authority na mag-issue ng warrant of arrest o di ka mag-investigate sa nagawa ng mga sundalong Amerikano doon sa Afghanistan. So hanggang ngayon, pakinggan natin yung galit ni Trump. Pakinggan natin. Ang speech ito ni Trump sa Congress ng United States of America. So,
as far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
ulitin. Ang puntos nito ni Trump, hindi siya member ng ICC. So bakit sila magkaroon ng kapangyarihan over them? At hindi rin ang Israel ay hindi rin member. So the fact na hindi member ay dapat hindi sila nakikialam. Galit din ang Russia. O ito, pakinggan natin ulit si Trump.
As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
So yan. Titingnan natin yung dating pronouncement ni Trump. Pakinggan natin. Tapos yung sa Russia, galit din.
If there's an international organization requiring U.S. cooperation, you can safely bet Donald Trump probably has an issue with it.
I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council.
Trump's latest target is an institution with 125 countries behind it, the International Criminal Court, and he's hated it for a while.
As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority.
But the U.S. having a problem with the ICC is not new. What is new is the extent of how aggressively the U.S. is going after its members. And that's putting the court in what may be one of its toughest fights yet.
Tama, sa UN nga ito.
Before we go any further, I'll give you a quick sense of what the ICC actually does. In 2002, and keep note of that date, we'll get back to it, the ICC was set up as a means to investigate and prosecute people under international law, specifically for genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression in a political or military context. So, fast forward to last week when tensions spiked again between Donald Trump and the ICC. The U.S. State Department announced new sanctions, the kind of punitive measure a country might make on other governments or officials, on 4 people working for the International Criminal Court.
The U.S. State Department announced new sanctions on 4 ICC officials on Wednesday.
In a press release, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the court an instrument for lawfare against the United States and our close ally, Israel. Lawfare meaning using courts to attack. He also called it a national security threat.
That's pretty shocking in and of itself. It's clearly an escalation.
As I said, the hostility between the US and the ICC, that's not new. But last year, it reached another level after a bombshell announcement by the court, accusing both Israel and Hamas of war crimes and crimes against humanity. It said it had reasonable evidence that a Hamas leader was responsible for war crimes against Israelis, including torture, rape, and sexual violence. But at the same time, it accused Israeli officials, including Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister at the time, of war crimes in the campaign against Hamas in Gaza, including starvation, murder, and persecution.
Israel, I think, in a way, is the kind of ultimate step. It's the most controversial step that the court has taken in terms of issuing arrest warrants against Israeli leaders.
Seeing this as a national security threat, the Trump administration hit back with more than just criticism.
Donald Trump has denounced the International Criminal Court.
Under an executive order, Trump called the warrants illegitimate and baseless actions targeting America and our close ally Israel, and said the U.S. will impose tangible and significant consequences on those responsible.
Those sanctions have been designed to try to stop officials, both prosecutors and judges, who have sworn oaths, judicial oaths and prosecutorial oaths, to do their job without fear or favor. They are essentially being pressured not to do their job.
And its job in recent years has been to investigate something the U.S. has never wanted it to look at. Remember when I said earlier to make a note of the year 2002?
An important step was taken today toward establishing an international criminal court, the world's first permanent body to try people for war crimes.
When the ICC was launched, it was also a time of war for the U.S. And that meant the U.S., which initially supported the creation of the ICC, now opposed this independent body, which would have the power to investigate potential war crimes committed by American soldiers.
The International Criminal Court is troubling to the United States. Our diplomats and or soldiers could be dragged into this court. And that's very troubling to me.
The U.S. rejected the International Criminal Court from the word go. That wasn't just the Trump administration. And one of the groups who could be liable for prosecution in Afghanistan is potentially U.S. citizens because of the actions that were carried out as part of the war on terror. And since then, we've seen really a kind of up and down relationship between the U.S. and the ICC, where some administrations have really fundamentally challenged the legitimacy of the court.
Keyword some administrations, because while the U.S. right now is vehemently opposed to the ICC, saying it should not meddle in Israel's affairs, when it comes to other nations over the years, not so much.
Now, the International Criminal Court, in its first major case, will begin an investigation focusing on the individuals who it says bear the greatest criminal responsibility for the crimes of Darfur.
The U.S. occasionally softened its stance. For example, the second Bush administration did not vote to block an ICC investigation into war crimes in Darfur. And later, the Obama administration even supported the ICC, looking into crimes in Libya in 2011.
There was this pragmatic compromise with the court where the U.S. was prepared to work with it, where it was in the U.S.'s interests, rather than just standing against it as a matter of principle.
And more recently, a big one when the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin for alleged war crimes in Ukraine.
I think it's justified, but the question is not recognized internationally by us either. But I think it makes a very strong point.
Certain administrations have been more willing, if you will, to use the tool of the ICC in a way that advances what they think are important global goals.
So when the ICC has focused on the crimes of nations other than the U.S. and its allies, fair to say the U.S. has been largely on board. But when the ICC takes on something much closer to home,
investigating war crimes in Afghanistan, the ICC has now cleared the way for an inquiry into the allegations.
In 2020, the ICC turned its attention to the U.S. involvement in the war in Afghanistan. And suddenly the fear that always existed of Americans being subject to prosecution bubbled to the surface.
We will not stand by as our people are threatened by a kangaroo court. And indeed, I have a message to many close allies around the world. Your people...
Kangaroo court ang tawag sa ICC.
could be next.
That message
Tawag nila ng US sa ICC, kangaroo court.
critics see as a double standard in international law. The US willing to shape it, but rejecting being bound by it.
And so there is this long practice of being at the forefront of creating and helping establish international treaties and courts, but they're not ultimately being subject to their jurisdiction or control.
It's hard to square that with the conception of the international rule of law, which is really essentially supposed to apply to everyone. And the idea that a country can be kind of, on the one hand, a primary guarantor of the system, but on the other hand, itself somehow kind of holding itself apart from some of the rules of the system seems contradictory.
And that brings us to right now, where the world's most powerful country is going after the ICC's judges and prosecutors. So a big question now is, how can the ICC survive and do its job credibly?
So sa ngayon talagang survival mode na ngayon ng ICC. Ayun ang problema nila.
Today, the Congolese warlord Thomas Lubanga was convicted by the International Criminal Court of recruiting and deploying child soldiers.
In the 2 decades since the International Criminal Court was set up, it's had a few successful prosecutions, largely from African countries. And some saw that focus on these nations as a way of establishing early legitimacy.
There have been times, I think, when the prosecutors have more or less taken the view that the best way to get the court up and running is not to kind of challenge the great powers.
But its mandate is far broader, and critics noticed.
There was this long criticism of the ICC that all of its major investigations were all on the African continent in different countries. And so there was the sense that it was an extension of colonial politics through other means, that Western countries were using the ICC to extend this colonial control through the court.
So the new path to legitimacy meant going wider, pursuing alleged war crimes and collecting evidence from other parts of the world, including Western nations.
So the Afghanistan investigation became quite important because it encompassed all crimes committed in Afghan's territory, including those committed by CIA and other American personnel. There has always been this fear that perhaps it could extend higher to more senior leadership in the United States, potentially all the way up to the president.
And that's a big risk, one that goes beyond sanctions. The war in Afghanistan involved more than just the US, so investigating it may influence other countries' support of the ICC. And looking at that February executive order again, it says that the US expects our allies to oppose any ICC actions against it. But for a court set up to get justice for the world's most serious crimes, choosing not to pursue more powerful nations could change its role in international law from substantial to just symbolic.
Okay, itong pinaka-problema sa ngayon ng ICC. Pinaka-problema sa ngayon ng ICC ay ang gagawin pala ni Trump sa ngayon, ang lahat ng mga bansa na kasapi ng ICC ay ipipressure ni Trump na bumitaw na sa ICC. Ang problema kasi sa ICC, kahit na wala silang jurisdiction, imbestigahan nila yung mga sundalo ng Amerikano. Wala silang jurisdiction, pinalabasan nila ng warrant of arrest si Putin at saka yung tao ni Putin. Wala rin silang jurisdiction sa Israel, pinalabasan nila ng warrant of arrest si Gallant at saka si Netanyahu. At pinalabasan din ng warrant of arrest yung taga-Hamas, yung leader ng Hamas. Kumbaga, pinalabasan din nila ng warrant of arrest, inimbestigahan nila yung mga sundalo ng Amerikano sa Afghanistan. Yan ang ayaw na ayaw ni Trump. Sa totoo lang, Claudia? Trump has no jurisdiction to a Filipino criminal. Siyempre, ang Amerika walang jurisdiction sa Pilipino dito, sa Pilipinas. Ang problema lang po, para maintindihan ninyo, ang ICC, masyado silang overreaching. Gusto nila sakopin lahat-lahat. Sa kanilang gustong pagsakop, ano mga justification ginagamit nila? Ang ginagamit nilang justification ay alanganin. Ang Pilipinas hindi na member ng ICC but pinalabasan pa nilang warrant of arrest si Digong. Sa katwiran lamang na dati ay kasapi ang Pilipinas sa ICC at yung krimen na ginagamit nila ay naipang-akusa kay Digong ay yung krimen na nangyari sa panahon na kasapi pang Pilipinas? Malabo po. Kasi unang-una, na andito yung humarang, hindi man lamang sinusunod ng ICC ang kanilang sariling batas. Ano po yun ang sariling batas na hindi nila sinusunod? Ito po yung tinatawag na Rome Statute. Yung batas na ginawa sa Roma. Ito po yun. Basahin natin ang Rome Statute na batas nila. Andun po sa Article 12 na kapagsasabi na pwede sila mag-imbestiga, mag-acquire jurisdiction sa anumang kaso kung kasapi ng ICC ang bansa na kung saan ang citizen na kakasuhan ay sakop nila. Ito po yung batas ng Rome Statute. Tingnan po natin sa Article 12. Yan. Yan po nakalista mga batas sila. O yan, Article 1, the court was established, it shall be a permanent institution and shall have the power to exercise jurisdiction over persons for the most serious crimes of international concern as referred to in the statute. So, ibig sabihin, yung krimen na nakalagay lang sa batas nito and shall be complementary to national criminal jurisdiction. Ibig sabihin, sila po last resort mag-action kung ang bansa kung saan ang dapat may jurisdiction sa krimen ay hindi uma-action. And the jurisdiction and function of the court shall be governed by the provisions of this statute. So ang kanyang jurisdiction ay mag-govern anong mga provisions, ibig sabihin batas nakasulat dito. Yun ang susundin kung talaga sila kukuha ng jurisdiction o hindi. So ito naman, relationship ng International Criminal Court sa United Nations. The court shall be brought into relationship with the UN through an agreement to be approved by the Assembly of States Parties to the statute and thereafter concluded by the President of the Court on its behalf. O, ano pang iba dito? Legal status and powers of the ICC. The court shall have the international legal personality. It shall also have such legal capacity as may be necessary for the exercise of its functions and the fulfillment of its purposes. The court may exercise its functions and powers as provided in the statute on the territory of any state and by the special agreement on the territory of any other state. So, ang tanong, may agreement pa sila sa Amerika? Wala. Sa Russia? Wala. Sa Israel? Wala. So, ito yung mga krimen na sakop nito. Crime, genocide, crime against humanity, crime na war crimes, tsaka the crime of aggression. Yan yung mga batas na sakop, mga krimen na sakop nila. Tapos nakalagay rito sa Article 12. Itong Article 12, tsaka Article 13. Nakalagay dyan, the state which becomes a party to the statute hereby accepts jurisdiction. So, kung sino lang naging member at state, naka-present tense, the state which becomes a party, may S which becomes, ibig sabihin present tense, a party to the statute hereby accepts the jurisdiction. So, ibig sabihin, yun lang ang mga state na present members ang pwedeng sabihin na tinatanggap na ang authority ng ICC. So, paragraph 2, in the case of Article 13, with reference to Article 13, paragraphs A and B and C, ang A sa situation in which one or more such crimes appears to have been committed is referred to the prosecutor by a state party. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang bansa na kung saan nangyari ang krimen ay sinuko kagad sa ICC, ay pwede nilang gagawin. Parang member na rin sila. At ang sinila, the prosecutor has initiated an investigation in respect of such crime. At nakapag-initiate sila, ay pwede sila magsampa sa korte, sa pre-trial chamber court. Pero provided na party sila. The state of the territory in which the conduct of in question occurred, or if the crime was committed on board a vessel or aircraft, the state of registration that vessels or aircraft. So sinasabi po dito ay a state becomes a party to the statute. Present tense, in present tense. Ibig sabihin ay ang bansa lamang nakasapi at the time na isa na pa ang kaso ang pwedeng may authority ang ICC na mag-trial. So sa Amerika, hindi si member. So with that, very basic, very fundamental ang batas ng ICC na nagsasabi na dapat member. Hindi member ang ang United States of America, hindi rin member ang Philippines. Hindi rin member ang Russia, hindi rin member ang Israel. Kaya iyan ang nagagalit. Kaya delikado ang ICC. At dahil doon sa galit ng Amerika, ay sinanksyon, so hindi na magagamit ngayon ng mga members ng ICC judges, tsaka ni Karim Khan na prosecutor, ang kanyang credit card dumadaan sa Amerika. Ang kanilang ATM card na dumadaan sa Amerika, hindi na ma-withdraw ang dollars na pera nila. Hindi sila pwedeng umorder sa Amazon, sa Shopee, o sa Lazada. Hindi sila pwedeng umorder kasi ang problema nila, kasi ang Amerika ay lahat ata na, halos lahat ng financial systems sa buong mundo ay dumadaan sa American systems. Yan ang pinakamatindi dyan. So, ang argumento lamang dito is, kapag hindi member, nakasaad na sa Article 12 ng ICC na hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng authority ang ICC. Ang TEMO, hindi ko alam kung baka dumadaan din sa American system yung TEMO. So, ganun ang very, very clear, very, very easy to understand na pag hindi member ng bansa ay hindi pwede magkaroon ng kapangyarihan ng ICC. In our case, sa Pilipinas, 2019, March 17, ay hindi na tayo member ng ICC. Kaya, kahit nga na nangyari pa sa panahon na member pang Pilipinas ng ICC ang mga krimen na pinag-usapan, at kung hindi na member ang Pilipinas sa pagsampa ng kaso, ay hindi pwede tanggapin. So ngayon, ang nangyari, nagpatigas ulo ito dito ng ICC na pretrial chamber. Pretrial chamber ng patigas ulo. Nasabi nila may jurisdiction sila sa kaso ng Pilipinas. Kaya pinalabasan nila ng warrant of arrest si Digong Duterte. Sa pagmamatigas nila yan. So ngayon, yung pagmamatigas ba nila may ano ba yan? May legality ba yan? May hangganan ba yan? O matalagang kusa na lang mawawala na yan? Sa totoo lang, dahil umiiyak na ngayon ang mga judges at prosecutor ng ICC, sigurado ako na mag-aayusin nila ng maayos ang pagsagawa ng kanilang trabaho. Sigurado ako na hindi na sila iwasan nila, malalagay naman sila sa balag ng alanganin. At kung kaya titingnan nila ng maigi kung talaga bang sila ay may jurisdiction laban kay Duterte. Yan ang mangyayari dito. So sigurado ako dyan. Natatakot na kasi sila eh. Sigurado ako dahil unang-una, binabantaan, tinatrabaho ngayon ng US ang lahat ng bansa, kakausapin ng US ang lahat ng bansa na kasapi ng ICC na bubuwagin na nila kung hindi nila tatanggalin sa kanilang investigasyon ng Amerika ang Israel at ang bahala naman dyan ng Russia, wala siyang pakialam sa Russia, ay talagang pipilitin ng Amerika ang lahat ng bansa na kasapi ng ICC na kumalas. At kumontra. Kung hindi man kumalas, kumontra sa ginagawa nila. So with that, kawawa na naman ito ngayon ng mga ang mga naniniwala na dapat kasuhan si Digong. Bakit hindi na lang para walang problema dito na lang sa Pilipinas kakasuhan? Problema kay Bongbong, hindi niya kakasuhan sa Pilipinas si Duterte. Ito mga buboy, hindi ko na sagutin to. Si Deepa Popper, mga buboy yan. So, ngayon, ang sinasandalan ng ICC sa kanilang argumento ay ang Article 127, Paragraph 2, ay sinasabi nila na special law yun. Exception to the rule, exception to Article 12, Paragraph 2. Exception daw yun. Kasi nakalagay po sa Article 127, Paragraph 2 na 4 ang kondisyon kasi niyan eh. Yung sa Paragraph 2 ay 2, sa Paragraph 1 ay 2 rin. Ngayon sa Paragraph 2 na 2, ang iuna, pwede pang magpapatuloy ang relasyon. May jurisdiction pa rin ang ICC sa Pilipinas sakali merong agreement na nangyari sa gitna ng Pilipinas at ICC. At nangyari ito sa panahon na hindi pa naging final ang withdrawal. Ang problema, final na. Wala pang agreement na nangyari. Number 2, kung may mga anumang bagay na nakonsidera na ng korte ng ICC na nangyari ang pagkonsidera sa panahon na kasapi pa ang Pilipinas ng ICC or hindi pa final ang withdrawal. Ang problema, meron ba? Ang ituturo lang nila ay yung preliminary examination. At ang preliminary examination po ay inanunsyo ni prosecutor dati na si Fatou Bensouda noong February 8, 2018. Ngayon, pwede ba yan? Hindi po, kasi ang preliminary examination ay hindi po siya exercise na pag-jurisdiction. Hindi po yan pagsampa ng kaso. Parang pulis lang sila nag-imbestiga kung ano mangyari. At kung may dahilan, saka parang sila magsampa ng kaso. Nagsampa sila ng kaso nitong ano lang eh. Itong May 24, 2021. So, lampas na, hindi na member ng Pilipinas, kaya basura na yan. Ngayon, ang preliminary examination ay hindi mo pwede maaring sabihin na isang bagay na pwede magbigay ng kapangyarihan sa ICC na maghatol o di ka maglilitis at maghatol kay Duterte. Sapagkat, kapag batas na pag ikaw ay kailangan maghahatol sa sinumang tao, kailangan ang batas mo ay klaro, kailangan mayroong batas. Ang tanong, may batas pa nagsasabi ng preliminary examination ay pwedeng gamitin para malilitis at mahatulan si Digong? Wala, hindi sinasabi, hindi klaro. Walang batas na nagsasabi na ang preliminary examination ay magbibigay ng kapangyarihan sa ICC na maglilitis at maghahatol kay Digong Duterte. Dagdag pa niyan, ulitin ko lang yung ginamit ko kagabi ay yung sinasabi na dahil sa totoo naman nangyari na kinidnap si Digong Duterte ay magiging dahilan niya na pwedeng gamitin na ibasura ang jurisdiction laban kay Duterte. Bakit? Dati, sa panahon ni Adolf Eichmann, na pumatay ng 6 na milyon na Jew, ay kinidnap siya ng mga Mossad ng Israel mula sa Argentina. At ginamit ang private plane. Sinakay sa private plane si Adolf Eichmann at dinala sa Israel na korte. At doon nilitis nila si Adolf Eichmann. Isa sa depensa ni Adolf Eichmann ay hindi nyo ako pwedeng i-trial dito sa Israel dahil hinuli nyo ako, kinidnap nyo ako. Anong sagot ng Israel na court? No, hindi namin concern yan. Importante, bibigyan ka namin ng patas na laban. May due process ka. So, natalo si Eichmann, nasintensya siya at binitay ng Israel. Ganon din na nangyari sa ibang mga kaso. Kaya lang, may bagong development sa batas na yan. Sa kaso na sa korte ng South Africa, sa kaso na Ibrahim versus Minister sa South Africa, pinalaya ng korte ng South Africa si Ibrahim sapagkat siya ay kinidnap mula dun sa Swaziland. Ang kasalanan ni Ibrahim ay siya yung nag-implement ng apartheid policy sa South Africa. Ang apartheid policy po ay yung diskriminasyon ng puti sa itim. At dahil doon, nag-decree ang korte ng South Africa na hindi nila igagalang yung pag-kidnap bilang pagbibigay ng jurisdiction o authority sa South African court. Dahil kinidnap si Ibrahim. Ngayon, nangyari din yan kay Toscanino. Si Toscanino ay isang sa Latin America siya, hinuli, kinidnap siya ng mga American soldiers. Kinidnap siya para humarap sa drugs case sa Amerika. Ang problema, ang abogado ni Toscanino ay nagdepensa. Sabi niya, hindi niyo ako pwede kukunin ang jurisdiction sa akin kasi kinidnap ako. Lahat ng mga ginawa ng pagkidnap ang naglabag sa batas ay hindi pwede magbigay ng karapatan sa kahit sino. Kasi nga null and void yan from the very beginning. Anong desisyon ng korte? Natalo si Toscanino sa mababang korte. Nag-apila siya sa appeals court ng US, panalo siya. Hanggang sa appeals court, hanggang sa Supreme Court ng Amerika, panalo siya. So, ngayon, siyempre, dahil may decision sa bagay niyan, obligado ang International Criminal Court na tingnan yung mga desisyon na yun. At hindi mo pwede sabihin na papayagan mo ang ICC na magkaroon ng jurisdiction at lilitisin at husgahan si Digong sapagkat magiging hindi makatao ang ICC kung papayagan nila yan sapagkat alam naman nila na kinidnap si Digong sa Pilipinas. So dahil dyan, maaring magbago, maaring sundin ng ICC ang desisyon ng mga korte sa kaso ng Ibrahim at sa kaso ni Toscanino. Yan po ang aking masasabi rito. At kahit man sa Pilipinas, hindi po pwede mangyari na arestuhin mo lang ang tao na walang dahilan at itatrial mo sa korte natin. Ang tawag namin yan ay lack of jurisdiction over the person of the accused. Alam yan ng mga abogado na nakikinig sa akin ngayon. Alam yan ni Atty. Libayan. Alam yan ni Atty. Joel. Si Joel, Buyutan. Sino ba yung Joel na, Atty. Joel na, na ICC lawyer. At si Atty. Gabriel Andres. At saka si Atty. Conte. Alam nila yan na kapag hinuli mo ang tao na illegal sa Pilipinas, ay hindi mo pwede na itatrial. So, ganon din yan sa Pilipinas dahil kung hinuli mo na walang dahilan ay walang jurisdiction, magkakaso. Kaya yan ang mangyayari na nakikita ko in support of another law that says that you cannot bring a person to an ICC case if that country of that person is not a member of the ICC at the time of the filing of the charge. Kailan ba sila nag-file the charge? When did they file? On May 24, 2021. So meaning to say, the Philippines was not a member of the ICC on that day, then there must be no authority by the ICC over Digong on that day. At mapipressure ngayon ang ICC because nagalit na sa kanila ang United States of America. So, ibig sabihin, pinapagalitan po yung ICC sa pagpupumilit ng mga bagay na alanganin. Alanganin po talaga sila na may magkaroon sila ng dito ng authority. Kaya, ipupusta ko, sigurado ako na magsusuko dito ng ICC at bibitawan nila si Digong. Yan po ang aking nakikita. Ay, magandang gabi, kapatid na Abs. Tapos sa Panelo RN Construction, 2016 na-file ang kaso. Hindi po 2016 na-file, sir. Panelo Construction, mali po kayo. Na-file po ang kaso noong May 24, 2021. Hindi na po member ang Pilipinas. Okay? Yung pinalmas, baka sinasabi mo 2017, nagbigay lamang ng report ng affidavit si Trillanes at saka si attorney yung namatay na abogado at saka si Bato. Pero hindi yun filing ng kaso. Ang importante ang mag-file ay ang prosecutor. Kumbaga sa panahon na yun, ginamit lang ng prosecutor yung time na yun na pwede mag-imbestiga pa lang sila. Alamin nila para silang pulis na naghahanap ng si Sabio, hindi si Sabio po. Naghahanap pa lang sila kung ng ebidensya kung meron nga. Saka sila magpa-file parang pulis para saka pa lang i-file sa fiscal natin. Ganun po yun. So, ang 2016, hindi po, nag-file lang sila ay May 24, 2021. Okay? Hindi na po member, kaya dapat maintindihan niyo po. Si Ben Marhuerte, yan dapat ang ginamit na argumento ng lawyer ni Duterte. Sa total, nabubuhan ako kay Atty. Kaufman eh. Tapos, Al Orenstein Lacona, nangyari ang patayan sa member pala ay hindi na po, mali po yung argumento mo, Mr. Al Orenstein, hindi ko nabasahin po kasi mali po kayo. Wala pong batas na ganun. Tapos, John Miguel channel subscription, ikaw ang bubo tanga. Ay, ginawa ba kong bubo tanga? John Miguel channel, tawagin mo naman ako bubo, hindi ko nababasahin yan. Tita Beauty, hi sir. Merry Christmas sa inyo lahat. Michael, Gorbachev, hindi man to, Bidol. Sorry to say, but Digong's release is quite, hindi, isa yung sabi mo lang yan. Kasi hindi mo alam ang batas. Pag alam mo batas, nag-aalanganin na nga sila, ang ICC. Kaya pupusta ko rito na bibigay ang ICC, na bibitawan nila si Digong. Sa Ben Marhuerte, pwede naman kasuhan si Trump ng ICC. Takot nga rin sila ng ICC sa kay Trump eh. So, kasi hindi kasapi ang US ICC. So, Andre Guico, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas sa inyo lahat. Kahit may mga kumukontra sa akin, Merry Christmas din. Sana maligaya kayo kahit na kinaaway nyo ako. Ben Marhuerte, ganyan din mangyari sa mga judges sa Pilipinas na tatakot din sa executive branch ng gobyerno. Tama po. Alpha Popper, ulul. Ay, hindi ko nabasahin. Bibirahin mo pa pala ako. T. Alpha, sa team mo na lang sila Ben Marhuerte, membership na naman ang argument mo, Dr. Toto. Ilang beses, membership talaga pinakamalaking basihan dyan. Ben Marhuerte. T. Alpha, at tapos Miss Daisy, good evening po. Tapos si Mickey Kabawatan, Trinidad. May you spend the rest of your life in jail. Goodbye. May you spend, wala yan. Nagdadasal ka. wala yan. Ano pa? Hindi ko mabasahin iba. Nelson Laher, tama yung sinasabi na attorney, kaya wag ka magulo, mga troll kayo. So, Pinto Senior, magandang Merry Christmas. Nelson Laher, may troll dito na adik. Wag naman siguro tawaging adik, troll na lang. Kevin, ICC Kangaroo Court, sinasabi nila Kangaroo Court, sabi ni Trump Kangaroo Court eh. Ben Marhuerte, paki-block na yung madaming flood. Yan, mga flooding ng BPS Bupals. Troll ito eh. Tapos Astra Housing, ICC, pauwi nyo na sa tatay. At LP, hindi papayagan pasakop sa US, European ang ICC. The end is near na ICC. Sa totoo lang, yan ang problema nila. So, Bogs Adam, sige. Neneng Kausing, Bogs Adam, may message ako sa iyo. Dennis Kausing, kapatid. Argo Host. So, UN yan. Host, hindi sa Congress. Salamat po, UN pala, hindi sa Congress. Kamag-anak, Kausing Salbing. Hello po, Kuya Toto. Go, go, go para makauwi na sa Tatay Digong. So, Higer Rimbulat. Good evening po. Good evening sa lahat. Si Pastor Rodi Rabi. Si Dionel Laguador, Attorney Toto, sana magkatotoo. Magkatotoo po ito, naniniwala po ako na susunod sila sa batas. Pastor Rodi Rabi, ano pa? O yan lang po ang aking ulitin ko lang dahil hindi na member ang Pilipinas nung panahon na sinampa ay obliga. At dahil din sa matinding pressure na ginagawa ng Amerika sa ICC at dahil din nakakausapin ng Amerika ang mga bansa na member ng ICC ay malamang mabibigay sa pressure ito. Kasi mali naman ang ginagawa ninyo. You who are members of the International Criminal Court. I am addressing this directly to Attorney Karim Khan and the Deputy Prosecutors, Minjay Nam. Let it be known to the whole world that you are pretending to be intelligent and you are violating the principle of consent in the international law as we know it. You cannot file a case against a state. And if you cannot file against a state, if there is no consent from the state, if that is so, then you cannot also file a complaint against any citizen of that state without attacking. Itong napapansin ko eh. Lagi akong ina-attack. Michael Albain. So yan po, that's the only thing I want to state this clearly in English so that the prosecutors and the judges of the ICC would hear the voice of the people, majority of people in the Philippines, majority of the people who know the law. We who know the law know that the basic principle in international law is you cannot compel or force any state into admitting the case. Like, for example, when our country filed an arbitration case over West Philippine Sea against China, China did not admit it. China did not allow the filing of the case against it. That's why China, until now, is not accepting the decision of the International Court of Arbitration into the issues grouped as UNCLOS or ITLOS, International Law of the Sea. You must also know that recently, the court in France dismissed the case filed by the heirs of Karim Khan, Sultan Karim of Sulu, against Malaysia. And the French court dismissed the case on one reason that Malaysia did not give its consent for the case to be filed against it. So we now extrapolate into criminal cases. Because lack of consent by the state cannot give jurisdiction to the court, any international criminal court. Hence, the ICC must get first the consent of the Philippines in order to allow it to file a case against any citizen of the Philippines. That is a very basic principle. And when the Philippines withdrew on March 16, 2018, and it complied with Article 127 of Rome Statute that says that the effectivity of the withdrawal will occur only 1 year after the filing of the withdrawal notice in the office of the Secretary General of the United Nations, then that 1 year has passed already from March 16, 2018 until March 16, 2019, and therefore, by the force of the law, on the 17th of March 2019, there is no more jurisdiction over the Philippines from the ICC. So you judges, you presiding judge Del Carrion, and the other judges, Judge Sofia De Lira, Judge Ganso, you have no more jurisdiction over the Philippines. So you just be careful. That is an affront against you, against your integrity as jurist, against your integrity as supposed to be good lawyers. In so doing otherwise, you are showing to the world that you do not know what you are doing, that you are all ignorant of the law. The basic principle of international law is you can get jurisdiction if the state agrees to be sued. Yan lang po yan. Ganun lang po kasimple. Okay? Dapat maintindihan na ninyo. So, ganun na lang. Sa sunod siguro, dito nang kukunin ko. Dito ba? Mas maganda bang dito? Paborito na ako titirahin ng ano. Lagi ako tinitira. So anyway, nice meeting you all. Whether you are against or in favor of my opinion, rest assured it is a strong opinion only. And it does not go beyond that. I may lose in this because I cannot have control over the minds of the judges. But I do believe strongly that these judges will decide based on what is the dictate of the law. Thank you. Merry Christmas.